Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to share an approach that I used to save £400 in the space of 2 months in order to buy the camera that I'm currently filming this on. Now that may not sound like all that much, but it's a very simple approach which I think in the long run has the potential to save a lot of money. So I'm currently living in London as a student, which to say the least can be pretty damn expensive. And unfortunately, I keep on thinking of things that I want to buy. Now, some of those are things that I really don't need, which I find actually makes it easy for me to put those to the back of my mind and say, maybe one day if I have too much money, I can buy those kinds of things. But there are some items that I want to buy because I believe that they would concretely add value to my life. So one example of this is the camera that I'm currently recording this video on. And I believe having a good quality camera concretely adds value to my life because it enables me to record high quality videos, whereas the first few videos that I uploaded on YouTube, to be honest, were pretty terrible quality. Another example is this Samsung Galaxy tablet that I bought quite recently, which I'm planning to use in my lectures to make notes and to upload papers onto them, which I can then annotate on the screen. But the tricky thing is finding the money to buy them. Sometimes I find it hard to justify spending money on these items when I still have student loans to pay, my rent to pay, and all the associated living costs of living in quite an expensive city. And you could make an argument about cost-benefit analysis. Maybe if I record a lot of videos on this camera and then the YouTube channel does well and I make money off it, then I could retrospectively pay for the camera. And likewise, if I'm paying £14,000 for my degree and then I have this tablet and that leads to an incremental improvement in my experience or the amount that I remember or learn from the course, you can make an argument there that actually you are saving more than you're spending. But there's no guarantee that my YouTube channel will do well or that this tablet will help me to do well at university. So it makes it hard, at least for me, to justify in advance spending that amount of money. However, last year I started using an approach that really made it easy for me to actually justify spending money on these items. And that's what I'm going to explain now. So the idea is super simple, but I think it kind of hacks into human psychology a little bit. So I downloaded this app called Savings Tracker. And what's nice about this app is you can set yourself some sort of goal that you want to achieve. So for example, in my case, I wanted to save up £380 to buy this camera. And once you've declared that as a goal, you can decide some sort of mechanism by which you're going to save money. So the way that I would use this was whenever I was out making some sort of purchasing decision, whether that's something small like what to buy to eat or to drink, or something like whether to buy a new subscription or buy a new pair of headphones. And I'd follow my usual decision process and decide on what I would normally buy. But then I would ask myself, well, do I have to buy that? And is there an alternative way? Let's say, for example, it's 4 p.m, it's the end of the day, and I'm about to head home, but I'm feeling pretty hungry. I would ask myself, normally, what would I do in this situation? And normally, I'd be pretty happy to actually just pop into Pret and buy a baguette and eat that on my way home. But then what I would do instead is, in this case, I would ask myself, well, could I go without that baguette? Could I wait until I get home and then eat something which maybe I know there's some food in the fridge? And if I decide that I will, then any money saved I would track onto this app. And by asking myself that question at every decision point, sometimes I wouldn't make the decision and I'd be like, you know what? I'm too hungry, I don't want to sacrifice that, I'm gonna have that baguette. But other times I would decide, you know what, I'm actually pretty happy to not have that baguette and wait. In the case that I did that, then I would essentially enter the price that that baguette would have cost into this app and count that as a saving towards the object that I'm trying to save up towards. So if we look down this list, we can see the kinds of things that I saved. So I started on the 21st of August last year, and the first thing was a coffee. So here I decided I didn't want to buy this coffee, so I put £2.50 into the savings and I decided, you know what, I can actually go without a coffee. And then here, I didn't use Deliveroo, so I think I was about to order a Deliveroo and then I decided against it. I didn't buy Duolingo. I think I was going to buy a Duolingo subscription and I decided, you know what, actually, I can just wait until I get home or I can just use data in order to do that. And as we scroll down the list, we can see there's a lot of common themes here, so not eating coffee, not having certain types of food, those are where the common savings are. Sometimes there's larger savings. So for example, one thing that actually really helped me save in this period was the fact that I had a choice between 2 different bikes and I ended up getting the slightly cheaper bike and that saved me £100. And I think that demonstrates quite an important principle as well, which is that actually sometimes it's the bigger decisions that really do have more weighting when compared to these kind of small micro decisions, but both of them are very important. And as you can see, I entered some of these in a rush when I was walking around, so there's a lot of typos, but I think you know what they mean. So for example, no water, and I waited till I got home for food. So that was the case of probably I was out, I was a bit thirsty, wanted to buy some water, wanted to buy some food, but I decided, you know what, I can actually just wait, get home and save a bit of money. Sometimes not using the tube, didn't cut my hair. I assume that's club, no cloakroom in the club. So I just danced on the dance floor with a coat for a few hours, but it saved me a couple of pounds. Some people would argue that it's not really worth it for that, but obviously on that day I decided that it was. So just by following this approach over the course of about 2 months, I was able to save up £380, which I felt enabled me to justify spending money on this camera. So it wasn't money that was coming out of paying off my student loan or paying my rent or that sort of thing. It was something that I was able to save specifically because having the item motivated me to have a cheaper lunch, skip coffee on multiple days throughout the space of 2 months. And the final thing that's actually quite cool with this app in particular is that when you do hit your target, I've just deleted the last one so that I can show you this, then it celebrates with you with this confetti. It's the small wins. I personally believe, and based on things that I've read, that we don't have infinite amounts of willpower. It's a case of using the willpower that we have in the best ways. And I personally found that this approach was super helpful in enabling me to use little small amounts of willpower each time where I ask myself, do I want this camera or do I want this sandwich right now? By using that system, I could kind of convert it, this short-term desire for some food or a coffee, into a long-term desire for a camera that I believe will add value to my life, or a new tablet, or something else. Now, since recording this, I've become aware of a couple of other techniques that are also quite useful for saving up money over the long term by making these short-term sacrifices. And I haven't used them myself, but I have got friends who said that they found them very helpful. And the first of those is this idea of rounding up. Every time you buy something for, let's say, £2.39 for a coffee, then it will round it up to £2.50, and then you'll save that 11p. And there's various apps that do this automatically. So for example, I have a Monzo card and I know that Monzo does offer this as a routine service. Another cool thing that I heard about is where you start off by saving 1p on day 1, 2p on day 2, 4p on day 3, and it just keeps on doubling over time. So then by the end of a year, I think you save several £100s. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, which can also be quite useful for developing that initial habit of putting some money away to save it. But yeah, that's the technique that I used in order to save up for this camera. I found it super helpful, enabled me to save up kind of relatively guilt-free without worrying that I wasn't going to make my other payments. And I'm really enjoying recording on a new camera with much higher definition. And I hope that the videos appear better to yourselves as well. I might make more videos in the future about different approaches that I take to saving money while being a student in London. If that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments below, and subscribe if you want to see when I release those videos. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video.